have on the very mediocre Russian Shum 2012 with that weird sort of bottom bit on it that stops you using GP5 filters on it. So let me just set the stream settings up properly, because YouTube, like I said, on mobile won't remember the PC settings and vice versa. So dashboard, then I'll do the pop-out chat so I can read it slightly bigger font. Almost done. So just get the pop-out chat on the white screen, and then it will look better for the camera. There we go, white screen, pop-out chat. Right, so let's hope some people come on. Don't forget to like the stream, because it helps the things get shared. So yeah, the Shum 2012 is Russia's attempt at making a modern GP5 kind of mask. So triangular lenses rather than the old circle ones. A voice diaphragm that really isn't very different. And this very weird bit at the bottom, which doesn't really need to be on the mask at all, but it's probably on there so they can fit certain brands of filters, not other brands of filters. So I'll find out in a second if that is airtight or not, because with a GP5 filter it's probably not hyper-so. That does actually seem to be working, at least with that ammonia. So Chinese filters, funnily enough, do seem to work, but not apparently Russian GOS filters. That's probably because these are slightly differently shaped at the top. But yeah, hopefully we get some people in the chat anyway, because at the moment there's nobody in the actual chat. Pig says, oh, there we go. It looks like a watering can and an elephant had a baby. I can sort of see that bit for the watering can. All right, Snoz. And New Mama Game says, I mean, I am in the chat. Well, I can see you now. There weren't any messages that showed up before then. So yeah, like I said, this is Russia's attempt for some reason of making a modern GP5. It's not really any better than the PMG2. Cost is different to NATO. The old 90 I've got behind me somewhere. There we go. It's very mediocre. It's like an S10, but not as good, Snoz. It's the Czech kind of rip-off of an S10. It's you can see there it's got the S10's actual full lens bit, but that bit is just solid plastic you can't see through. So all of that bit there is stuff that on an S10 you could actually look through, but on the On90 you can't, because they're tiny eyepieces right in the middle of them. So there you go. The On90 I don't really recommend. It's not awful, but it's not good either. It's just sort of there. All right, Rajiv. So, yeah. Take that off a minute. So, yeah, like I said, this has that really weird bottom bit on this with, so this yellow bit is basically just there to protect the exhale valve. All right, Rich? Yeah, Shum 2012, I did a video on it earlier. But, so this bit is basically just there to protect that crappy little umbrella valve at the back. Because if you look at that, there's nothing then preventing like other air getting into the mask, so it has to have this there to stop that flapping open. The earlier Shum 2012s just literally had a GP5's sort of system on them. But yeah, the reason they've probably put this on there, Hype was speculating, is so you can't fit real GP5 filters on there to force people to buy new filters from this company. So if I just show you that, see if it works with mine or doesn't work with mine. So yeah, this isn't an old GP5 filter, by the way, as you can see. But funnily enough, they still use the exact same old bloody tooling for just trying to get some light inside that bit there. Yeah, because you won't be able to see this on camera, but if I get the light inside that filter there, you can actually see that that's not the old asbestos kind of layer in there. You can tell it's modern paper, but again, you can't actually really get the camera to show that at an angle. But well, the chat, by the way, is completely broken on the mobile one. There's no chat at all. So if I'd have just done this as a normal stream, the chat wouldn't have worked at all. However, Hype was saying that apparently this blocks this from going properly in, which is probably done on purpose. Yeah, this bit, look here, blocks. Sneaky bastards. This bit, look, blocks that going fully in. So if it was on the mask, this bit, so let's pop that back on. And then if I tried to tighten the GP5 style filter on, see that's doing that. So what's going to happen now is I put this on and it will let gas leak in. That's actually working a bit better than I thought it would. But yeah, that's not a proper seal. So I'm saying the Chinese filters at least don't seem to have that issue. The Chinese ones, because Hype was saying the GP7 filters, like the PMK1 filters that have the slightly different shape, they work fine. But you can see there, look, there's still a slight gap between that and that, where with that GP5 filter there wasn't. So the speculation was that because there were loads of GP5 filters in storage, the companies that made these made them on purpose so you couldn't do that. So this one is made in 2024. Although that bit says 019 2011, but there's not 19 months in 2011, so I'm assuming that's a different kind of dating system there. Shum 2012 40x4, which means GOST. Something or other 2018, something or other 2013. I think it means just revisions of the mask or not. So yeah, but like I said, with the Chinese GOST filters fit all right on here at least, unlike the Rusky ones. So that's good. But and I really need to cut my hair soon as well, because that's definitely getting in the way. Right, I hope the chat hasn't broken, because I haven't seen anybody after Rich saying hello. I'll close that chat window and reopen it. 1 second. Like I said, the chat is completely broken on the mobile today, so Small says still working, thank you. Need to sneeze and I will ask. Oh yeah, and I upset the Vatniks yesterday with the video I did about Russia losing in Ukraine. That really upset the Vatniks. I'll see while I'm on stream if there's any new Vatnik comments to read out. So bear with me a minute, because it's a bit hard to do all the interfaces like this. I doubt, unlike the PMG, or sorry, the Shums, this will work like this. So that kind of works, right? Let us see if they have made any new angry comments, comrades. I ought to put a monetize, like a charity thing to Ukraine on that video as well, to piss them off further. Right, comments. Somebody says, and again, I don't know, Yeah, that person there isn't making a pro-Russian comment. He's actually, so that's somebody. We are winning. NATO help us. That sounds like a Russian. Oh, it's called 4 Foot Russian, and it's a Vatnik channel. Oh right, cool. It's a Vatnik channel. Oh, he's saying that American troops should attack the White House. So yeah, this is a Vatnik channel I found. I'm assuming it's called 4 Foot Russian because he was malnourished at birth. But yeah, this is what you get when NATO countries put fluoride in their water. We are winning. NATO, help us. Oh, and is there any held for review ones I haven't replied to yet? No, none held for review ones. They've been auto-deleted by YouTube. Okay, I'll reply to that guy a bit later. All right, unknown. I'd say AliExpress for the most part for new masks, unless there's something you specifically want. But yeah. Oh, that mix. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, what do people want to talk about? Like I said, the Shum 2012 is interesting, but not particularly good. It's basically a GP5M that's not any better in any way, despite modern materials. I don't know if you get a better field of view of these triangular lenses, maybe ever so slightly, but yeah. But yeah, other than that, I'm just trying to think if there's anything. This has got the thinner ear bits like some of the other Soviet masks, but they don't quite line up with your ears either, so it's a bit of a pointless feature to have those circles if they don't line up with your ears, because my ear there, look, is there, not there. So, yeah, I'll have to, like I said, cut my hair later, because that is getting annoying now. It's a shitty glue job on the bottom of there, look at it if you can see that, but where whoever at the factory didn't quite glue that properly, so, yeah, there's that. But otherwise, I believe that is exactly the same as a lot of older Soviet ones. Yeah, because if I hold it up to the light, you can see the light through it. So technically, that diaphragm there is just the same as on... it's basically just a PMG style one or whatever. See that? You can see if I do that with my hand, you can... So yeah, that is just literally a plastic disc sandwiched between those bits of metals. Nah, I doubt it's going to happen now, Snoz, at least for the short term, because everything's getting more expensive. My income is going down, not going up, in terms of, you know, real term wages from jobs don't go up as much as the cost of inflation. And like boomers that thought they could actually get them to survive a nuclear war now, rather than just being interested in the history of them, have bought up a load of them, driving the prices up. So, every single one I've seen go for auction recently has just gone up stupidly compared to what they used to cost. So it's one of those things where, unfortunately, unless something happens with the economy, I don't think there's any chance of it at the moment. Because, like I said, when I first started saving for one, it was one of those things where a couple of years of, you know, saving while still having a disposable income, I could have got one. But now, like I said, they've jumped up massively in price because of Putin going into Ukraine, where people then bought them for an actual prepping reason, not just because they liked them as a side project kind of thing. And like I said, the problem is at the moment is, even if I'm working more hours at the job I do, and they've technically put minimum wage up and everything, even with minimum wage going up, my actual take-home pay is almost less than it used to be because it's just due to inflation on stuff. Yeah, Scott, again, that's the annoying thing, because like the S10 is a good mask, but it's still an old surplus one, right, Owen? So it's still one of those things where S10s aren't really worth what people think they're worth. But, you know, I guess if people are paying the money for them, then, you know, they're still going to go for those prices. But let's pop that, shall I, in frame there? Yeah. But, so yeah, regarding ROC posts, that's the problem with them at the moment. It's just that I think unless... I think when there's less of people in the mainstream news worrying about nuclear war, I reckon the price of them will massively drop again. But the problem is like the huge, you know, they kind of went up 2 to 3 times the RRP, if you like, between like 2021 and 2022. Because again, I think it was just a case of like boomery type people, you know, just go like, oh, I need one of them for my prepping thing. Person whose name I can't pronounce said hi, hello. Yeah, the A4 is more comfortable than S10 anyway, Scott. Yeah, see, I've got that right behind me there. An A4. That's a much more comfortable mask, especially more comfortable than this thing. But yeah, the funny thing as well with this is the rubber quality is actually not as good on these as in the Chinese masks. So the AliExpress modern sort of Chinese TF1s, whatever they are better made than these in terms of rubber quality. So, yeah, there we go. So, that's that. But like I said, the chat is totally broken on the YouTube stream thing there. So if I'd have just started the stream today via my phone and wasn't at the PC, I wouldn't have been able to do the stream. Because, again, the interface is really broken with these streams now on that one. Connecting. There we go. I don't know if that will actually fix the chat or not. That would be interesting to see when the next message comes in, but probably not. I imagine it will still be broken. What's the little options they let you do on here? Chat filter. So I can have the chat filter. Oh, there we go. There is a way of slightly refreshing it. So, yeah. That's done that. What does the plus do? Start a poll. Not really any point doing a poll on one of these, but yeah, that's an option. What's the next thing? That's an option here. Pin to live stream. Tag products. Okay, I don't know what would be the use of that. And what's that? Just share the live stream. Yeah. And again, if people are currently on it, I don't need to share it. But right, at least I now know if I do a stream when I'm not near my PC, how to refresh the chat, maybe. Which means that if the stream breaks, I might be able to still get chat up. But yeah, I still do find it's funny that the modern Russian filters still use GP5 casing and all the tooling for them. Like I said, you can't see it on the stream, but the actual filter material inside is actually definitely not the old asbestos stuff. You can just about see a tiny bit of it there, but you won't be able to make out what it is. But that's a modern paper heaper in there. Yeah, you can't really see it very well, but you can tell it's not that old Soviet kind of yellowy looking thick filter material. The top end of this filter still looks identical to a GP5. The charcoal is still behind that like cotton wool layer thing with that like cross thing across it. So this is an ABEC 1 P3D. Does it say RD40 on this anywhere? Oh, it says 40x4 there on the little green band. But yeah, so I did try and put the rubber stopper back in this earlier, but you might be able to see it's actually crushed the bottom of the filter in. That's actually really funny. That yeah, see how uneven that is now. The metal is so thin there that trying to push the rubber stopper back in just caved the metal in at the bottom of the filter. So that didn't quite go to plan. But yeah, that's, don't know how obvious it is from some of the angles there, but yeah, that is a skewy bit of filter there now. So it's definitely obvious from underneath. I think from that angle you can see it's caved it in. But yeah, it's because it's thin, horrible metal. This filter was made in 2015, and I guess if it was still sealed, it would expire in 2028. So it's got a new kind of modern barcodey kind of stamp on the bottom. Look, if that actually even shows up on there. It's quite hard to actually read that font, even. Yeah, the camera almost can't see that blue color at all that's there, but it's literally across that ridge there. But anyway, no more messages. No new messages. I'll close the chat and reopen it just in case it's broken again, because there's, like I said, the problem is these, sometimes people aren't talking. The other time people are talking and I don't know because the chat's broken. So there we go. But yeah, like I said, later on I definitely need to get my clippers out and just buzz all my hair off, I think, because it's annoying me now. This is the sort of length of hair where it starts getting to the stage where it annoys me, because gas mask like the one I just used, there's enough hair there to be in the way. And you can also see, like, if I'm wearing headphones, it starts making like 2 layers of hair like that. So yeah, needs a shave, needs a complete shave off. Maths physics nerd said testing question mark. I can message and I made sure to say live chat. Yeah, that's working. Have you seen Played Out and Fall? Yeah, Retrowave. I streamed some of it on this channel. I still haven't completed it yet. The reason being is when I got quite close to the end, I wasn't sure which ending I wanted to do, like where you have to obviously align yourself with certain characters. So I haven't actually completed it yet. There's a DLC coming out for it, which is meant to be a bit like Far Harbor Point Lookout, I think, which might be interesting. I actually quite liked Titanfall, but yeah, I just never completed it because it was one of those games that came out in a period where I had other stuff to do. So I started it, really enjoyed the start of it, and then got distracted, sort of thing. So yeah, but at Titanfall, I enjoyed what I played with it. No, never played Titanfall 2. I know what it is, P3 Pass, but I've never played it. Oh, actually, the DLC's already come out for it, has it? Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't even notice that. I was the other day playing the new Elden Ring thing, and I don't know what I really think about that. I don't think it's awful, but I don't think it's great either. Because this new Elden Ring sort of DLC standalone game, whatever it is, plays nothing like a normal Souls game. It's kind of like a battle royale roguelike, but it's PvE still, so it's really weird. It's like you're on a constantly shrinking map, and you have to fight the boss in the middle of the map, but you want to try and get equipment and level up a bit before going to the middle of the map so you can fight the boss more easily. So yeah, this Elden Ring game's a bit weird. Some people really like it, some people hate it, and I'm kind of in that middle ground where I'm sort of like, nah, it's, you know, it's, yeah, a lot of people hate it. I think part of the problem is FromSoft did a really bad like idea of describing what it was, if that makes sense. So it's one of those games where if you go on the store page, it doesn't really explain what the gameplay is like. So I can understand why a lot of people read the info that was on the store page, bought it thinking it would be like from any other FromSoft game, and then hate it. And obviously you've got the fanboys of FromSoft going, "Oh, you should have read the store page," to those people. But again, like I said, the store page doesn't really tell you what the game's about. But weirdly, there are people that like it that normally hate FromSoft games. Some reviewers I've looked at that normally, hate every FromSoft game, so I don't know why they bother reviewing them. But they like Night Rain. So again, it's one of those weird games where it seems to almost be the people that like it aren't the demographics for the normal Souls-like sort of games. But I have got Black Myth Wukong reinstalling now because I've finally got enough hard drive space that I'll actually be able to keep it on the drive and play it. So because I heard that's very good. And yeah, that's meant to be quite good. Black Myth Wukong. So we'll see if I like that, the Chinese sort of Souls style game where you play as a monkey. But yeah, other than that, can't really think of much to say. Never seen the TV show Monkey. You mean the Shum 2012 P3 PAS? Officially, it's not used by their military, but knowing how corrupt and everything the Russian military is, I don't think there's any point of them having standards. As in, most of the ones apparently at the moment are getting sold to China for cheaper than the price that they're meant to be on the market. So they're probably just getting stolen and sold off anyway. But yeah, with this mask, it's a case that I think this is meant to be civil defense and industry only. But like I said, with the Russian military and how corrupt it is, some soldiers are probably given these regardless of what equipment they should have. Mobics probably don't get gas masks at all, not even old Soviet stockpile ones. So, yeah. I mean, at the start of the war, the Russians in theory should have had full Ratnik gear, so like PMK-4s or PMKs. But like that's the whole thing with the Russian army. It's not really a proper thing anymore. In the sense that it's such a mishmash of fucking equipment, including T-54s, T-55, T-62s. You know, it's AliExpress kind of uniforms. It's hard to know what they officially have and don't officially have anymore because of, again, like I said, just due to massive corruption, that stuff soldiers should have been issued was sold on, and then the soldiers are given cheap replacement gear, assuming they don't even have to buy that stuff themselves. Didn't like the Fallout TV show, didn't hate it, but didn't think it was very good. But bear in mind, I don't really like Bethesda Fallout either. I like Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 1 and 2. Fallout 3 is okay. Fallout 4 is okay for some of the gameplay, but the story is shit and lots of stuff like that. So, yeah. The Fallout TV show was one of those things I watched and was like, meh. Yeah, that's good. As long as you're happy with stuff like that. Funnily enough, I haven't done a video on it yet, but I bought another Chinese M65 and right height and Chinese webbing. I've just got that. So yeah, the Chinese filters fit fine on this because they're slightly triangular at the top, like you were saying about the PMK1 filters, GP7 filters. So this doesn't quite bang into that and not work. No, I don't have a GP5 with a drinking tube. I don't think that was ever a thing, was it? I'm sure there's a prototype type thing like that, but I don't think any of the Soviet ones ever had a drinking tube. The Shum 2012 doesn't. The most of the Chinese ones, like the TF1, don't have a drinking tube. Yeah. Yeah, when I tried my one, it did seem to just about work. But, yeah, weirdly, look, just to show you this, when I tried it just now, this didn't screw in far enough to look like it would seal, like where it's pushing into the plastic there, look. So you think, oh, that's not going to seal. But when I tried the smelling salts, they don't seem to be seeping in. And it's definitely going in my eyes now I've taken it off. So I'd assume on my one, yeah, it might be my O-ring is just a little bit fatter there. But yeah, you're definitely right. That definitely gets in the way of it. Because like I was saying, if I put this filter in now, the Chinese one, that will screw fully in and you can actually see the little gap there between the filter and that, so it's not blocking it. But yeah, like you said, that's like they've done that on purpose to sell more filters of the other type. Because yeah, that, like I said, that still has a gap. If you use these filters, it pushes into the thing out the way. But yeah, this one seals absolutely fine. Yeah, I'm assuming this isn't too tough, is it? But yeah, like I said, it's got that weird system where the exhale valve is literally just that bit back there. Yeah, because if I did that with my finger, you might be able to see my finger back there. But maybe not because it's too dark. But yeah, like you said, there's only one valve, not two valves like the old GP5 version. So it's a much cheaper, nastier valve assembly. Yeah, well, the funny thing is the earlier versions of the Shum 2012 had a GP5's valve assembly, didn't they? And there's another version I was looking on the Gas Mask wiki that uses like the PPM88 or whatever it's called version, the one that's a bit like an Israeli 4A1 sort of exhaust cover. So yeah, both other versions of it would have been fine, but this version has got that bump there that just isn't needed at all. Because just actually because it will be visible here, look, but yeah, you can see there, look, that is in the way of that. It stops it going properly in, because that's, whereas like that filter, that's not going to cause a problem because it goes flush. But yeah, all right, Unknown. But yeah, like I said, thank you for sending me. It's an interesting mask, but yeah, also very sharp plastic edges there. You can cut yourself on those. Yes, again, the design choice, like you said, literally seems to only exist in terms of let's make it so our brand of filters are the only GOST ones that fit. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, so they connected it but didn't connect it. So yeah, so the Tissot bits on the left and right, they didn't connect that there at all. So okay. That seems completely pointless, but yeah, so what, so was there just a hole at the bottom of the assembly and then those bits were just there doing nothing? Working as designed, comrade. Top 10 anti-fog systems in human history. If you're being serious, I wouldn't be able to name you all 10, but most modern masks that just have good Tissot tubes are absolutely fine. And you have an oral nasal cup. It doesn't even need to be that tight, but just so most of the air doesn't come back up and is forced downwards. That's all you need. But yeah, this obviously has the classic GP5 sort of, or Shum 41, or whichever Shum first came up with these, just the little bits that face the eyepiece, so when you breathe in, the air hits both sides. Yeah. All right, yeah. So like one of the worst, yeah. Anti-fog. We have a Tissot system, comrade, but it is not attached to the air intake. It is there for show. Let's see if I've got any more angry Vatnik comments. Sadly, I think they slowed down now. But I'll read that other one out again because it made me laugh. From 4 Foot Russian. That again is some weird Vatnik troll farm one. When was the account made? Joined May the 1st, 2025. Oh wow, this isn't even an old account. Yeah, we are winning. NATO help us. This is what you get when NATO countries fluoridate their water. Hey, coconut milk. Hello. Is that an insult, coconut milk? Does that just mean white person? Most milk is white, though. But yeah, there's a proper comment there that I need to reply to. Isn't it, what do they call it, their troll farm thing? It's like the Internet Research Agency or something like that, isn't it? Because I need to comment back to him that they're not sending their best. I don't think he deserves his 5 rubles per post or whatever it is. Because I know calling like calling black and brown people coconuts used to be an insult, like Uncle Tom, where it's like brown on the outside, white on the inside, and that was generally every time you had a politician that did something that was actually good. No, I don't want to get too much into fucking politics, but yeah, it ended up always being used by people like, oh, you can't be a real black person if you have a policy like that. So yeah, that that was an Uncle Tom style one you saw a lot. Oh, he actually edited the comment as well that says this is what you get when NATO countries fluoridate their water. Well, so why is he capitalizing every word? That's a weird thing to do. Is this somebody because they're just typing things into Google Translate? This is what you get when NATO countries fluoridate their water. Some cold steel stuff is good, some cold steel stuff isn't. Because cold steel is like one of those things where I think they commission the knives from different factories around the world. So depending on which cold steel it comes from, means it's either good or bad quality. Like this cold steel saber's nice, the 1796 one, but yeah, it depends quite a lot on the individual factory and whatever they make them from, because said some cold steel stuff is a bit meh. So you have to basically look up individual knives and machetes and whatever and see what people think of them, because some of them are like meant to be notoriously bad, as in like bad tangs for the price and stuff like that. All right, so it's Google AI, might not be precise, but yeah, I've heard it used in UK politics as well, by people, Rajiv, that basically, if you're a brown politician that wasn't completely woke, they were using words like that. So I think it's a bit racist, personally. Yeah, Retrowave. Ukraine loses Russia war because NATO countries have good dental health. Yeah, if the handle broke while it was shipped, it probably wasn't a very good handle. Like the 2 cold steel things I had for years, which have never had any issues, are the Gladius machete and the Spetsnaz shovel. But yeah, some of the other, I'm just gonna get out of frame a bit because it's otherwise too bright. But yeah, but I do know there's been certain cold steel stuff over the years that's been notorious for like how much it costs, with like very obviously like bad design flaws in it. A lot of the cold steel stuff for years was not liked because some of their stuff wasn't very good replicas. So when they did stuff that were replicas, apparently like people didn't like them because, you know, there were bits that were just completely off for being a replica. But I know that's not the case with everything. So I think again with cold steel, go on a case by case basis. Yeah, especially if I didn't have the sticker on it. But yeah, if you look into this under the right lighting, you can actually see that it's not the old asbestos style layer. You can see it looks like a paper layer in it. But again, it's really hard to show that on camera. But yeah, I can see if I do that to the light at the right angle, looking down into it. But yeah, that is a very papery looking HEPA filter, not the old fashioned like horrible brown looking kind of one that looks sort of like what you call it stuff, paper mache. I know it's not paper mache, but the old asbestos ones in there look kind of like paper mache, like somebody's kind of just gone sort of, you know, paper mache some asbestos in. But yeah, with these, it's much thinner layers of white sort of things, the same you see in the 3M filters and whatever else. Albert Production said, I had my deactivated number 4 firing just snap. What do you mean firing just snap? Firing pin? It should have a firing pin in it if it was deactivated. But yeah, I don't quite get what you mean by that. Or do you mean the entire rifle somehow snapped in half? Because that would be quite difficult to do. Ah, firing pin. Like every DAC I've got, I'm pretty sure does not have a firing pin in anymore. I'm pretty sure every DAC I've got, they've ground that down or like cut it out because even though a firing pin would be very easy to replace in a deactivated gun, for some reason it seems to be one of the things they always universally take out. So yeah, that probably shouldn't have been in there in the first place, in all honesty, Helmet Productions. I'm going to reply to that person. I'm going to, whoever said the thing of good dental health, question mark. Yeah, it is the Internet Research Agency, Glabset. I'll put, really isn't sending their best. Yeah, whoever had that good comment about the good dental health, yes, I've replied that to the Vatnik. So with some of these Vatniks, I'm replying to them for a bit, and when they end up just enraging other people in the comments, I'm just banning them at that point. Because I've had a few of the Vatniks on that video where they've actually tried to appear normal at first, but the mask very quickly starts slipping in certain comments. And sometimes it doesn't work, so they'll be like, oh, I think both sides are bad. And then you click their profile, and it's all fucking pro-Russian shit all over their channel. So you're like, yeah, of course you do. Yeah, have a nice evening as well, Hype. Like I said, I'm going to, as soon as I finish streaming, I think get my clippers out and shave my hair off, because when I wear a mask like this, I hate having hair. In the actual job I do, which I won't disclose exactly what it is, I do work with Koch-type chemicals. But yeah, but the problem is just there's probably not that many jobs available in that kind of thing. Because again, there's lots of jobs I would find really cool to work, but good luck finding anywhere that's employing you that doesn't want you to have done 10 years doing a college, you know, like university degree specialized in that field. Because again, that's one of the problems we've had in a lot of bits of the UK with various sort of employers, that even people that are very qualified for the jobs can't get them because they need both the qualification and the history of working in that type of job. So yeah, good luck getting it. Also, I don't know if this is a thing in the UK, but I know apparently it's really bad in the US, where companies sort of advertise jobs then they never want to fill. So apparently it's to make the company look good on the stock market or whatever. Companies do a thing where they advertise that they're hiring people for a certain job, but then never respond to any of the job applications for that job. So it looks like they're doing better than they are, because it looks like they're constantly wanting to hire people. But yeah, I ideally would love to do something like dosimetry based to do with radiation. But yeah, outside of hospitals and nuclear like disposal sites, I don't know of anything that actually requires you to be into dosimetry. And again, I'd probably had to done sort of advanced physics in sort of university for a job like that, even if you're just reading what a Geiger counter's screen says. Yeah, so again, that's another thing, Rockhopper, like you're saying, that yeah, they're advertising a job even if yeah, they've already filled it. Because I've heard of that from other people as well, where like the company's already decided who they're going to employ, but they legally have to advertise a job, so it wastes everybody's time for when they're still going to hire the first person they wanted anyway. For the Drago M65 comment, I'm going to get that up properly on the screen because the font's a bit too small there. So would you recommend getting a Drago M65 gas mask? And yes, mainly Walmart, basically Tesco, but Walmart and a lot of the big grocery stores always advertise high paying good hours. I think it's the M65Z or something it's called, that's meant to be the better version. The regular M65 I don't really like because of its straps. The regular M65 has kind of really hard to adjust straps that aren't very good. But in theory, it's not a bad mask. But again, the Israeli M15 is a better version of the same mask. The Romanian M74, M75, whatever it is a better version of the same mask. As in, it's just higher quality rubber and stuff like that. Yeah, that's weird helmet production. So like I said, you probably shouldn't have had the bolts, firing pins still on it. But yeah, like I said, Draeger M65s aren't not great, not terrible. You know, they're all right masks. Personally, I didn't like them because the peripheral seal on them is really kind of small, and on my face it meant there was a couple of bits near my chin that would always like let air through. You know, if you did the straps up really tight, it would probably stop that, but then it's like crushing your skull. Whereas, you know, if with the like I said, with the Romanian versions, that was never an issue. So again, I think that was just more of a case of the Draegers weren't great in that regard. I think the Romanian one I actually had behind me somewhere, but again, there's so many bloody masks behind me that good luck me spotting it. Yeah, that's just buried somewhere behind me. That one can be on top of the pile now, the Shum 2012. If it's old spec, yeah, like I said, that makes a difference, but they could now say, "Oi, you modified your deactivated gun. You tried to put a new firing pin in because you snapped that one off. You're nicked, mate." White flag in the background. There's not a white flag in the background. Where are you looking? There is a poster. There's a PTM1 gas mask. There's not a white flag back there. There's an East German mannequin behind me, but that's not a white flag. Yeah, no white flag there at all. There's a thing that says Fallout Shelter on it, under the mannequin. There's no white flag there at all. No white flag, so you're seeing something that probably looks totally different on the screen. But yeah, that is not a white flag. There's not a surrender flag anywhere in here. So you're probably, if you are seeing something, it's probably just a bit of packaging that looks weird on the camera with the light bouncing off of it. You saw it when I turned around. Look like that. There's a box of tissues there, you know, for blowing your nose. There's a box of tissues. That's not a flag. One with white and red. There is no white and red. No. There's no white and red flag there. No. You're seeing something that doesn't exist. There's a ghost in your screen. You might have a haunted computer. I'd call an exorcist, because you're seeing ghosts that aren't there. Either that or a ghost is going to get me. But when I turn away, a ghost keeps appearing on the monitor. The ghost of a surrendered Frenchman. Red stripes and some black symbol. What, like the funny mustache man's thing? But no, there's literally nothing down there that looks like that. I don't know what you're looking at. There is nothing like that behind me. Either there or there. There's nothing that looks like that. So you're seeing something that doesn't exist, I would imagine. Because, yeah, nothing on the mannequin. No. Up there, it's PTM1. There's that sign of the gas mask on it, but that's not a flag. The trousers on the random mannequin legs. If he's on about the sign behind the mannequin, he means that's just a gas mask sign, and that's yellow. That's like a road sign. It's like a bright yellow and red road sign. If you could, would you? Kino Lens says, would I do what if I could? The comment didn't go through. From my POV, it would be in my chest. If you're seeing the tissue box, that's a tissue box. That's not a flag. That's literally a box of tissues. Yeah, that's a tissue box. Like I said, it's not a flag. It's tissues, as in blow your nose. Thing at the very back of the wall, right? Where's he looking? I want to see. So there's a tissue box there, partway down, where there's some gas masks. There's some posters peeling off the wall. There's a Stalker Call of Pripyat card there. That side is just other random junk. You can't even see that. A stick. Oh, if you're seeing that, that is a bit of a spear or something. Thing, but the thing behind it is a Soviet like postcard. Get that off. It's like if you were seeing this CCP and it's got some fucking like cats and dogs going into space, probably where they're going to murder them in space. Yeah, this is like a post-Soviet postcard. It's not a flag. Is that what you meant? Turn around and right behind the chair. Again, I don't know what you're looking at. I think you're like a very clever troll doing this because you keep getting me to look for something that's not there. But because this was the thing wrapped against the pole you were on about. It's next to the wood thing. So that. There's just a poster there. There's a white and red thing, but that's a big poster you can see all over the wall. Yeah, get it repaired if you can, Helmet Productions. That's the sort of thing I imagine could cost loads of money. It's in front of the mannequin arm. What, here? That's the tissue box. I've already said about that. I think he's seeing something I've already said what it is, and he's not believing me. Yeah, it's a tissue box. I've said about 5 times. It's a box of tissues. That's not a flag. It's a box of tissues. Yes, tissues. You blow your nose. Yes, tissues. I've got it here because then I can reach back and grab one when I'm got snots coming down all the way down my face when it's a hay fevery day. No, I've said several times you mean the tissues, and you go, no, definitely not those. The box has orange and sort of grey-black stripes on it. Yeah, tissues. So, but we did find this, which was something other completely different, on a weird kind of like canvassy material. That's not paper as well. That's but yeah, there's some happy animals going into space to die because no return for you, comrades. Yes. I think that might have even come with that giant poster there when I bought that from Latvia or Lithuania or Estonia or wherever it was. That old commie poster on the gas masks. I think that was like they included that as a freebie. Space. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that because I didn't deliberately get that. That was just something that was bundled with a gas mask or something else. There's a Call of Pripyat postcard next to it. Yeah, the XM28, but like I said, that's got a ripped strap on it because when I was showing it off on the stream, one of the straps ripped. And it's now in a storage box, like layered in a storage box between other storage boxes. So it's one of those masks I cannot easily get. As in, like, it's in deep storage now, if you know what I mean. It's one of those masks where I had to clear some room out. I put a load of masks that were just sort of in satchels, sort of layered them on top of each other, and then put them in plastic storage crates. Do I have any binoculars? Not in this room. I've got some old Japanese ones that are actually quite good. Like probably 8 or 10 times magnification, but they're quite good in terms of colours. I've got some Kodak ones, or whichever the company is, that do some 20 times zoom ones, but they're 20 times is kind of too much for binoculars because you almost need to use them on a tripod or, you know, on a windowsill or something so they don't shake too much, because 20 times is sort of too much. My dad has some really nice binoculars, but that's because he does bird watching, so he ends up, you know, like, doesn't mind spending loads of money on binoculars. But I don't have any Milsurp binoculars, even though that's the sort of thing I probably want to get, like old Milsurp binoculars, but no, I don't have any, sadly enough. Yeah, the problem with the XM28 was because it's got one of those, a bit like I was saying about the M65, it's like one of those rubber straps where loads of tension is put on like a bit of the strap where it connects to there, because they're sort of designed that you tighten it once and then never tighten it again. So as they age, the, like, you know, the tension of the straps against the clasp puts more and more stress on it. But yeah, I really hate straps like that, because again, it's what the French just to show you, it's what the French M51 uses in terms of straps. It's like this style design of strap, which do not age well at all, because again, it's like a bit of rubber that's tightened against another bit of rubber, and you have to hope that there's not enough tension on that rubber as you tighten them or loosen them. Yeah, I ought to get some surplus binoculars if I ever see any at a decent price, but there's no point paying that much for them, especially because modern glass is a lot better than older glass. So, you know, with a lot of surplus binoculars, they're not worth the money in terms of glass quality. I imagine German ones, like Zeiss ones, would be pretty damn good. So any East German ones or Soviet ones stolen with stolen Zeiss optics in would be pretty good. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, sort of Soviet optics aren't very good. They're like quite kind of cloudy looking lenses. And that was a known thing, because the top tier Soviet stuff specifically was made to a better standard. There we go, let's turn that guy inside out. Hello. What's a mask I don't have but I want? I wouldn't mind a PMKS. I did a video on a PMKS or PMK4, whichever one it was. I wouldn't mind one, but again, I've not seen any being sold as surplus for a decent price anytime recently. But PMKs are cool. Like the modern ones, PMK4s and PMKSs, not those fucking GP7 looking bastards in the background. That would end up destroyed if I had one, so there's no point in me getting it and destroying something very rare. They belong in a museum. Again, with masks, I've got most of the practical masks I could ever want, so there's not really much point in me getting, you know, other masks now. I'm just wondering, actually, if the with the Shum 2012, if a Chinese filter would work on it. I've got one dated 2009, so it didn't stop before 2009. So yeah, I think about 2010, as you said. The FM12 was the replacement one for it. So yeah, that gets in the way as well. But I think that just about was fully done up. Let's give this a try before we go off. It's actually kind of a similar colour of yellow there, so that looks quite cool. Oh, yeah. It was certainly airtight. Yeah, but I doubt Mobics get good masks like PMKSs and PMK4s. But yeah, I think Hype at times is quite good at finding, like where he's got me this Shum 2012, he's quite good at finding stuff that is being sold on from Russia at decent prices. But again, it just depends on the time of the thing. If yeah, so even with that shitty thing there, I think, yeah, you can still see there is a slight gap there. So yeah, the Chinese coffee cans still screw on all right to these. Oh, that screw all the way and then come loose again. Yeah. Ooh. Not damage the threads that like there. No, but that's kind of funny. You can over tighten them and then they come loose. But yeah, that does seem to work all right like that. But yeah, that's not that reassuring, is it? But it does that. Look. Oh, I'm going to tighten this filter and then it pops back out. What the fuck is that about? Does it do it if I don't have that yellow bit on? Because if so, I have no idea what's going on there. Yeah, that's weird. It loosens again when you get to the full tightness bit. I'm assuming it's because part of the top ring is slipping out, but I don't know why it jumps like that, because most filters don't jump like that if you over tighten them. See, this one doesn't. It's just fully tightened. Yeah, I don't know why that other one jumped. Putin, the Simpinator says, Putin is going to take your country, keep laughing. I will keep laughing at Monkey, yes, because he's fucking incompetent, shits himself, and hopefully he's going to end up a very nasty way, but I don't know how he's going to take the UK. Bear in mind, you know, Adolf couldn't do that, and a lot of other, like Napoleon and whoever else, and he's nowhere near as good as Napoleon, if, yeah, I can't even take a shower. But yeah, I don't think a guy who is struggling to take the poorest country in Europe being gifted, you know, surplus from Western countries that we consider not good enough for ourselves anymore. If he's struggling there, oh, I'm really fucking scared about, you know, he's now going to come to the UK. I mean, that's why he keeps threatening the fucking nukes, because ook, I'm going to nuke. Don't you give Ukraine any more really old, outdated weapons, or I'll nuke you. Oh no, we're going to nuke you, Britain. Nobody cares. Like I said, he'd be fucking funny if he wasn't a murderous little, you know, manlet, because that's the thing with somebody like Putin, is he is ending up causing lots of suffering because of the fact that he's an angry little manlet that decided he wanted his empire. I mean, so yeah, but he is a fucking clown, you know. Yeah, I did see some Vatniks trying to claim that needing help from North Korea was actually a sign that Russia is doing well, because doesn't Russia have great allies that North Korea helps them? It's like, no, it's if you're getting to the stage where states that used to be client states of you are now the states that you're begging aid from, it's not going well. Oh yeah, they have a potato problem in Russia as well now. This is quite funny. So somehow in Russia they don't have enough potatoes anymore. So yeah, I don't know why that is, but I did see Inside Russia and some other channels have covered this, because Inside Russia is a good channel, by the way, as in Konstantin is a smart Russian who fled Russia, and obviously now he's fled Russia, he tells you all about stupid shit the Russian government's doing, and yeah, they're struggling to grow potatoes. So yeah, Official Roger, if you look at some of the ones I've recommended from AliExpress, some of those are pretty good. The AliExpress one I actually really like is, hang on, I will get it out just over here because I've got one. This one is really nice. Oh, speaking of that Romanian mask, I just spotted it. So yeah, that Romanian Draeger M65 style mask, this is quite good. Yep. Literally Romanian M74, whatever it is, got one here, look. So, yeah, that I brought that up earlier. Yes. But yeah, the this is like I said, I like this mask. The this Chinese mask is pretty damn good in terms of, doesn't really have a good voice diaphragm. That's the only thing. to complain about with this, but otherwise, quite hard to read. It's a little bit there to do that, but they said this Chinese mask is pretty damn good in terms of comfort, and you can buy them brand new on AliExpress. So, like I said, what I've ended up doing is I've just, any of the masks I bought on AliExpress recently that have been any good, I've just put affiliate links in the description to where you can get them. But like I said, this one I like, and you can also use 3M filters on it if you so desired under those covers. So it's got like a blanking system, like a lot of the Chinese masks have now, where you can use them either with 3M filters or the Shums. The Shums is nice, but good luck getting one for a good price because they're like £30+ now, easily. Like I said, annoyingly, Shums are those sort of masks you can't get anymore at good prices. But yeah, I like the Shums, but again, that's an old Soviet ones. I really wish there was a Chinese kind of knockoff Shums, because, like I said, where the Chinese do the knockoff sort of GP5s, the TF1s and all that, I'd really like a Chinese knockoff. All right, Andrew? Yeah, not bad. I'm going off fairly soon, but yeah. I'd really like a knockoff sort of Chinese Shums, but sadly I don't think there is one. And I like this bayonet. This is it's not a genuine one, but it's an M4, US M4 bayonet, which was the M1 Carbine's bayonet, because, to be confusing, the M4 bayonet is the M1 Carbine. Yeah, just bear in mind with 3M masks that you can't really get them in 40mm NATO. So the problem with those 3M masks is, although I don't disagree with you, a lot of the masks are good quality, the 3M ones, you're basically stuck using 3M filters, so you have to get a supply of those. Yeah, sadly, yeah, French ARFA masks are awful, as in they're made out of some weird rubbery plastic that just dries out and goes brittle. So yeah, like I said, French ARFAs I certainly wouldn't recommend. My one I eventually shot to death with an airsoft gun because it had gone so brittle that an airsoft gun shattered it. But yeah, like I said, they're you know. They used several masks. The S6 was in the Iranian embassy raid. The S10 they famously used afterwards, or like the other version of the S10, which was a higher quality one that I can't ever remember the name of. And then they've used other masks since. But yeah, you're probably thinking of an S6 or an S10 if you're thinking of the SAS. It's a knife. I have got a 1907 handy. Hang on, before I go off. Yeah, I've got one on my desk. Yeah, you're thinking of this thing, aren't you? Call that a knife? This is a knife. Yeah, that's an S10. Yeah. It's for Marley Enfield. This is actually an Aussie one, though, funnily enough, saying that. I think it's Lithgow or somebody who made this one. When I looked up the serial of whoever made it. But yeah, this is a knife. Mangrovite 42 says on there. Ah, Wilkinson sword. And there's an old Swiss bayonet, the one that was on the Rubin rifles. This is a nice bayonet as well. Very similar to a K98 bayonet. Slightly sharp edges. Somebody said, hello, Ted Bundy. I'm not Ted Bundy. I prefer, for now, I prefer smelling salts to banana oil. But Yeah, this Swiss one is excellent. But yeah, sadly, the version of the Schmidt-Rubin I've got, this doesn't secure well enough. So although you can kind of fit it on with the things, it's the right, for the right size for the barrel, and it is the right type of lug, because it's for a slightly later model of Schmidt-Rubin. If I put this on my Schmidt-Rubin, it's one of those ones where if you tried to thrust of it, it'd probably fly off. But yeah, this is a very nice bayonet. But yeah, like I said, sadly, it's for a slightly different model of the same series of rifle from my one, so it won't quite. But yeah, the problem is with banana oil is is Ted, what's his name? Is he the one who was the Unibomber? Is that Ted? The one that returned to nature, that Ted? I've got too much technology to be a fan of him. But yeah, so banana oil, the problem with banana oil, it is very good for checking masks, but if you're like my dad, for example, because he's got a really bad sense of smell, he's lost most of his sense of smell and taste. If you have a mask there and you're testing it, even if there was a leak, he wouldn't be able to smell the banana oil. But if I get smelling salts and do the same thing, he recoils away from them because of how smelling salts work. So the reason I like smelling salts now more for testing masks is you immediately get that sense of discomfort, even if so I think nearly everybody smelling salts would work with, but I think some people, they might have a leak in their mask, but they wouldn't be able to detect the smell of banana oil. I haven't seen Saving Private Ryan in ages. But if you're on about the FS knife, I do know where that is, because I actually had that out the other day playing with it. So yeah, this isn't an actual World War II genuine one. World War III between Russia. Krusty Shitter says Zelensky dances in heels on stage because of his height. I thought that was because he was a comedian. And Russia is losing to a country with a comedian as a president. I mean, you've got Ukraine with a comedian as a president, and then you've got the joke who is running Russia. But, go ahead. But like I said, I'm not even Ukrainian or whatever. It's just that, like most people over here, we can just see Russia embarrass themselves losing against the poorest country in Europe. So, there you go. But Russia's strong. I am scared of Russia. Aren't you scared of the Russian bear? Yeah, this is a World War I style bayonet. But yeah, the FS knife is, I think that's a bit insulting to Stalin helmet productions. I mean, Stalin was an evil, ruthless bastard, but he was efficient. Putin isn't efficient. It's basically how much, unless I suppose you count how much money can you embezzle from the state. That way, Putin is efficient because he's probably the world's richest man, not Elon Musk, but Putin, from all the money he's embezzled. But the comedian versus the joke, basically. But yeah, so like you're saying, World War I bayonet, 1907 pattern. It literally is a short sword, this thing. Yeah, well, the funny thing with Zelensky is I believe originally he was the more pro-Russian of the candidate. I don't even know what Putin's pride flag? Why would he have a pride flag in Russia? I don't get it, but I believe he was actually the more pro-Russian candidate. But you see, the problem was obviously with Russia is just people being nice to you isn't good enough for people like Putin. So it eventually ended up being give us absolutely everything or else. So, most people now would probably prefer somebody more like Poroshenko or whoever, who is a lot more anti-Russia. Donald Orange Trump says, my sanctions are working. China is begging. I mean, are they, Donny? I don't know. Although I did see, hasn't Trump my friend was saying Trump has violated the US Constitution yet again, actually, interestingly. Because apparently where he's ordered not just the National Guard now, but was it the US Marines or something to put down riots in California? Apparently that's a bit of the Constitution you can't break. But again, I'm not American, so I wouldn't know. last time Britain was interested in America was obviously when the Americans kicked us out in around 1776, 1778 sort of time, getting rid of George III. And then obviously we had a bit of fighting over 1812 with Canada. But after that, we actually became friendly countries with each other. But like I said, I don't really follow US politics because it's funny, but at the same time, with like people like Trump and Biden and that, you think, Christ, this is kind of depressing. Because of course, Trump, right after Biden, they had to find 2 geriatric old men who were probably losing it. Yeah, see, this is the problem, Retrowave. It's how do you say when it's a protest and when it's a riot? Because again, this is the thing. Like in almost any country, it will go both ways. Where politicians that don't like certain protests will call peaceful protest riots, and vice versa. So again, it's one of those things where I'm not really even going to comment on it. That's my point. That I don't know who is justified and who isn't, and I don't want to get into that fucking can of worms because I'm not American. It's not my place to really comment on America. Even though I've been doing it, but you know what I mean. It's one of those things of you know, if that makes sense. What I'm saying, you know, that it's just one of those things that I don't want to get involved in the fucking can of worms of if people have the right or not to do it. Like I said, I'm not American. I don't think we should be over here telling America what to do. And if Trump wants to hurt the US economy by doing sanctions on friendly countries that then, you know, backfire horribly when they just trade with China instead, that's America's prerogative. I think there's more than enough drama in the world, but, you know, we seem to be on the Mr. Bones wild ride of, you know, stuff at the moment, don't we, where it never ends. Yeah, because again, with the whole thing regarding that is that, from what I understand, and again, it's probably being politics, it's probably every side is using it for political point scoring. Is that, from what I understand, it's that the California mayor or whatever the equivalent is, state governor, I don't know how it works. He was the one that technically should have asked for the National Guard to support them, and Trump overrode him that he wasn't meant to do, governor. Yeah. But yeah, and US has some of the most militarized police in the world anyway. So like I said, I don't want to get involved with this can of worms because, like I said, it generally turns into a left-right thing where people just pick whichever side they like, not based on what they're doing, but because I don't like Trump or I don't like Biden or whatever, you know, with all this political shit. So, but yeah, from what I understand, part of the problem's been with the Trump stuff recently is that the US is meant to have constitutional protections, but my friend says it's basically like somebody saying, well, if I can't read, the sign saying stop doesn't, you know, affect me. I probably butchered that joke, but it's essentially Trump going, well, I'm going to do it anyway. So yeah. Yeah, because the Marine is obviously US Marine Corps, isn't it? Which is like your the elite Navy infantry. Yeah. So, because National Guard are like the territorial army in the UK. That again, like, yeah, I think there's a similar thing in the UK. You can't just deploy them, but if there was some big emergency, they could be deployed. But yeah. So he's gone 2 steps. He's deployed the National Guard without asking the person he needed to ask, and then deploying bits of the actual military. But like I said, I've not actually been reading into it. It depends what you mean by 40mm screw filter, because 40mm GOST and 40mm NATO are 2 different things. If you have a 40mm filter and it's NATO at work, if it's 40mm GOST, technically 40mm GOSTs tend to seal on most NATO masks, even though they shouldn't. If you have a 40mm GOST mask, it doesn't work the other way around. But ideally, you need to find out what the filter is, because there isn't just a 40mm filter. There's different types. It's like saying, does this 7.62 gun fit 7.62 caliber? Like, what you're on about, 7.62 by 39, 7.62 by 51mm. So it's one of those things. It might or it might not. It depends. Really, with stuff like that, it's meant to have a proper spec on the side so you can check. Because obviously 40mm filters, because the Soviets used 40mm and NATO countries, there's 2 different 40mm. So, yeah, the answer to that is you don't know unless you know what the spec of the individual filter is you're asking about. Anyway, I'm going to go off in a minute because I've been on for an hour and 20 minutes now. Right, I don't know what the company is, Supergum, but okay, they're apparently not very good. Too much, Andrew, is the answer to that. Way too much. Hopefully I can sell a lot of it. Are you using a Ghost mask to start with or a NATO 40mm mask? Because that's going to change. Oh, you said for the S10. The only problem is hoses for the S10 are quite expensive because there's barely any NATO countries anymore that make hoses. If you can find one of these German 40mm hoses, like this, that are connected to this PAPR unit, that would be good with the S10. But, yeah, it's quite hard to get hoses for the S10 because of the fact that, like I said, most NATO countries don't use hoses anymore. They only have hoses for PAPR reasons. So my advice would be, if you really wanted to see if you could just fit a hose on it, buy one of the hoses off of AliExpress that aren't too bad. But then it's going to be a Ghost hose, but that should still work on an S10. It's sort of questionable. But yeah, my simple answer for you, unfortunately, is hoses on NATO masks are kind of a very expensive thing to do properly because NATO countries. I'll see if I can find you that whole PAPR set just before I go off. Hang on a second. I'll have a look for that just before I go off. The exact thing. German PAPR. Give me a minute while I find a listing if there's any up. I did have listings from before. I'll have a look at the other comment in a second. I'm just going to have a look at this PAPR thing first if I can find one. Keep saying, oh, did you mean paper? No, I mean German PAPR. It's a different thing. Yeah, annoyingly, that PAPR unit, even though I saw some for sale recently, I can't see on here now. Let me just search electric as well. No luck with that. Oh, I think I found that particular hose the PAPR uses, though. Oh, no, this one's missing some of its mount, so this isn't any good. Let's just see if I can find you one of the Chinese hoses, because PLA gear. He's not on at the moment, but the person you want to ask is Hype, who was on earlier, because he's in China and can export you stuff if, you know, and he'll arrange what prices will be and all that. So other than stuff you can buy on AliExpress, I always get Chinese stuff through Hype. So, but he's not, he was on earlier and then said he was off to bed. So, no, sadly, I don't have any Diak revolvers at all. I've got 2 obsolete caliber revolvers, but no Diak ones, especially not a Webley. But, yeah, let me find, I just want to see if I can find, before I go off, that particular hose I was on about, even though I'm not going to find that German PAPR one now. I can at least see if I can find the Chinese ones that are all right on AliExpress. Let me get the affiliate link up off of my video, actually, because I've got the affiliate links to one of the things. So if I go to shorts, I then go to Chinese PAPR review. Is it that one? And then if it's got an AliExpress link in it, yeah, it has. This should be the thing. You might be able to get the hose without this PAPR setup, but there you go. This, like I said, this will technically be a 40mm GOST hose, but hoses, at least on NATO masks, GOST is not normally an issue because GOST is normally a slightly smaller thread, so it will connect the O-ring. But yeah, that Chinese PAPR isn't bad. I did a video on it. But like I said, that's, unfortunately, I would directly link you to one of the good German NATO hoses, but I can't find any now. It's like there's no listings for them. But there you go. There's an affiliate link I made when I did a review of that and thought, yeah, that's all right. I'll generate a link to it. Yeah, sadly, they're probably quite difficult. So what, non-expired ones? I've definitely seen places selling expired ABEC filters. They won't be officially NATO ones because then they're military service ones and they can't sell them because they'd be stolen stock if they were new. But let me just see if I can find a UK retailer and put the link in before I go. Oh, I hope my internet's not crashed because, oh shit, I think the internet's crashed. So if I cut out, it's because the internet's died. But I don't think this is realised yet. It might be because it's connected to the mobile internet. But yeah, my desktop PC, the internet isn't working anymore. So yeah, unfortunately. Oh, it's done a horrible green screen video. Don't want that. But yeah, unfortunately, my internet is dying. So if I'm briefly back on, that will have to be it now because mobile internet is not good where I am. So sorry, yeah, I have to go now because the actual physical internet is dying. Sorry, yeah, I have to go now because the actual physical internet is dying.